We're saying goodbye to Slaughter Shaft Mayhem 3. This is the only shaft that I've enjoyed playing with for the past few days, and we're waiting for Mayhem 4 to come in and roll in, and then we're going to start doing our builds on those, and we're just going to be crushing things. So my boys that already saw the Brain Freeze Gamma Burst variation, the items are basically the same, and you just hop over to the skill tree, and you can look at that. That's really the only difference between these two. It has the same functionality. That should save you guys a little bit of time because, not really much change inside of the key gear. There are like a few things. I'll highlight the few things that are a little bit different so that way you guys can, go about your good old day learning some more stuff. So this right here, for everybody, the stopgap works extremely well inside this build. You can rock the transform or something like that. Health regeneration works out super duper well. One thing that you can do that might work out pretty well inside the setup, you can switch up the Terra application or the Terra anointment. So you can rock something like either like fire rate or more damage, or anything, or maybe damage. You don't need damage reduction. Damage reduction probably work out well also, but you can play around with what you have for the Terra anointment way more inside this setup versus the Gamma Burst one. Gamma Burst one, the HP regeneration was really key for keeping your pet alive. This one we don't care about our pet. All right, our pet is getting smacked. And then we have our friend bot right here. This is an amazing friend bot. I found it on one of my little mules, just digging through just to see what I had. And Brainstormer's Hyperion. So you're getting that 45% more damage for it there. It's also a shotgun. You're getting that. And the grenade capacity is cool. Not really super duper key, but it does help out a little bit. You do find one with something similar to this with higher Barbaric Yop, which is that blue one right there that gives you additional damage. You can rock that instead. But this is amazing. For my PC boys, I have this inside of the file that's uploaded now, so that way you guys can pick up this bad boy right here. And then these two things are the same. So we'll hop into the redundant information for my Brain Freeze Gamma Burst boys, but new things for my homies that are just now checking out the video. So we got the Cash Infused Brainstormer. This Brainstormer right here is going to be immense and allow you to not terrify the enemies, but allow you to apply cryo damage to the enemies while you are terrified. And due to it chaining to a whole bunch of different enemies, you'll find that you'll be able to not only freeze the enemies, but you'll be able to get Megavore proc and crit the enemies, which will give you back your cooldown very fast. So it allows you to do a lot of damage, get a lot of CC coming through, and get your cooldowns right back up so that way you're invisible, which indirectly increases your survivability along with the CC layering. And you can find this in like a 14 shot variation. It won't be a 200% damage increase. It'll be a high damage increase though. I don't have one of these floating around, unfortunately. But if you do find a 14 shot variation, you'll eat through your ammo a bit faster, but you will also increase your damage even more, which is insane. I might be on the lookout for one that has double the ammo for this. And then we're rocking the Scourge right here. So the Scourge is just here to give us that big damage boost, or that those big damage numbers when we are end up fighting those different bosses that we can't kill too fast with a Brainstormer. Since this is a Megavore crit setup, having the Scourge inside of it allows us to one-shot some bosses, to be honest, which works out really well, and also like do significant chunks to other bosses, which is very vital. Of course, we just have a lump inside the setup because we love the lump, one of the best mob launchers inside the game. But we're playing the Brainstormer right here because we wanted to take a break from the lump before I became a lump channel, because that's what it was looking like for like 2 weeks. And then we have this Scourge right here. This is additional Scourge to play around with. The Cryo one works better on HP, has 150% damage multiplier on armor, which is pretty cool. And then this works better on armor by like 25%. You can play around with whatever you have, based on like whatever situation that you're running into. You really don't need 2 Scourges. I just have 2 Scourges inside of my setup right now. You can play around with some other guns, but the Brainstormer is what you're going to be using 99% of the time. So just be on the lookout for a good Brainstormer. For my PC boys, it's also inside the file. The Mortacular Hex Grenade, this is to allow you to get that Terra application when you are outside of Fadeaway. Ramps up very smoothly, and then you get whatever Terra anointment that you do have on top of your shield. And then the Radiation one is going to allow you to get nice little splash damage kicking in, and it also gives you Leave No Trace procs. And so the Leave No Trace procs work really well with the launchers and gives you not an infinite loop of damage that you can do with these two, but it gives you a really good loop. And that additional 5 grenades that we get from the class mod helps out with that general process. We're not really going to be throwing out our grenades like too much. I kind of forced through grenades inside of this video just to kind of mix it up a little bit. I did waste like 10 grenades on like 2 targets because I was basically trolling. So you'll have a whole lot of grenade inventory to mess around with when you do find a big target that you just want to chain shoot down with your Scourge. Then we have the Icebreaker Auto Idol. That's going to allow us to like freeze the enemies as well as do pretty good extra damage. So this is pretty much just a crit Megavore Flak tree. I'll go ahead and show you guys what this thing is. I optimized it a bit more for shotguns, so there are some key changes. So for the people that are familiar with the tree, I'll go ahead and like go over the things real quick. We'll show you guys what it is. So yeah, we'll start right here in the green tree. I always max out the self-repairing system in setups that are a little bit frail, at least over the overclocked. Overclock really doesn't provide that much more damage to most guns, and then for the shotgun right here that we have, we're not really getting anything at all. At 20% more fire rate, we're getting about 3, and that's not really going to help us out. It is going to cut into our ammo a bit faster, and then also the reload time is still something that we have to worry about, so it's not really that great of an investment. So we go self-repairing system instead of that. We're just maxing out our damage on Fear's attack. We have the 1 point into Eager to Impress. Maxing out Eager to Impress is really redundant because we have so much cooldown reduction due to having Megavore and doing a whole lot of crits, and due to so many different pellets hitting from the Brainstormer. It hits 7 pellets, and then that ricochets to one person, that ricochets to another person, and that can ricochet back to the main person, all of the good stuff. So we have a whole lot of Megavore procs coming through already. So it's very redundant to have this maxed out. It would be like I don't know, it doesn't make sense at all. So we have the 1 point in here because there's nothing really else to put the points into. Maxing out all my BFFs doesn't really matter too much because we have Friend Bot, and we don't really care too much about our pet inside the setup anyway. So the 1 point of Eager to Impress unlocks the functionality to get the cooldown reduction from killing the target, which is cool, but having it max isn't really the greatest thing to do in the world. 1 point to Lick the Wounds, bringing us back to life. This, of course, has everything that we do want for health regeneration, damage, gun, and fire rate, all that good stuff. More movement speed as well as gun damage, and then a little bit more gun damage when we are invisible. We're rocking Grills in the Mist, so that way we're able to stay invisible and shoot a whole lot of times and get all that crit damage coming off, and that works well with Unblinking Eye. We're just increasing our duration real quick right here. Pretty simple and clean, like Kingdom Hearts. And then we have the Interplanetary Stalker. I just said that completely wrong. I can't even remix that. We have Interplanetary Stalker, and gives a little bit more damage. Leaving no trace, of course, to give us our ammo back, which works out very well. And then Second Intention is the thing that's a little bit different inside the setup. We have this maxed out so that way we are cutting into our reload time. That helps out our launchers as well as our Brainstormer. And this is going to allow us to keep the flow of combat rocking really well. Hunter's Eye, I don't really care too much for in any setup. The 3% crit damage, especially inside this setup, I would not take over the reload speed. The armor damage doesn't really help out too much inside of certain setups. It could be okay against some of these robots if it does end up doing the 6% damage. From a test a while ago, it ended up doing 3% more armor damage. I don't know if they ended up fixing it. This was a couple patches ago. If it does end up being the case, then it's not really super duper worth. And then the beast damage reduction is whatever as well. Against bosses with boss and gear on, such as the Bounty Hunter class mod, this could be pretty cool though. But for this setup right here, I got way more value out of Second Intention. Head count, go to give you that cooldown reduction, works out well with everything. We don't have any points in the 2 thing because we have something with multiple pellets going out as our main gun, and we will just get 1 more pellet. The damage increase would be probably around 15% because we're at like 2,200-ish with the damage that we see right here. And then add an additional pellet at 326, it's around 15% roughly, and there's a 25% chance of that. So we are in a really rough spot if we invest in 2 thing as the main thing for that gun. It does help out our launchers, and it could be worth it, but it would slow down the build significantly rather than putting the points into Second Intention. More damage, more duration for our hunter skills, more damage, pretty simple. Crit damage, and you won't be getting hit much anyway. Damage and Megavore to help everything proc. And we picked the Spider-Man Scorcher. There's not really anything else to pick from. Has nice little regeneration and also more damage because we are all about doing the big deeps. And that's it. that's really it for the skill tree. That's it from your boy. If you guys have any questions about anything, go ahead and let me know in the comments below. If there's anything that you guys want like tweaked or upgraded for like your setup that you want to run for the Malawan takedown, go ahead and let me know as well. And yeah, that is it. Mayhem 4, here we come. Raid, here we come. And let's see how this thing rocks out inside of these different environments. So that is all from me. Peace out, amigos.